أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. We start off by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending our peace and blessings upon our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us beneficial knowledge and wisdom and acceptance. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our fasting, to make our fasting a sense of coming closer to Allah, to grant us deep understanding of why we do acts of worship such as fasting, to purify our hearts and our intentions and our gazes and our hearing and our comprehension through our fasting. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to love fasting and to love all acts of worship and to love Ramadan. And we're very sad, we're very emotionally sad that Ramadan is leaving, because Ramadan is a beautiful month and it's a blessed month. We only have about 6 days left of Ramadan. What's today's date? 23rd, 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exactly 6 days. Subhanallah. So early Eid Mubarak, early Eid Mubarak. I have to, we need I'm just reminding the president. Early Eid Mubarak. Eid is on the 29th of March according to the calculations of ISNA. So we'll be celebrating Salat al-Eid on the 29th of March. We have one Eid Salah here. I believe it's going to be at 7:30 or 8. We'll keep you posted. And then the 3 in Patterson and 3 in Clifton. And there's something that's very important, and that's to pay Sadaqat al-Fitr or Zakat al-Fitr or Fitrana. They're all the same thing. Fitrana is what Bengalis and Pakistanis and Indians call it, and Sadaqat al-Fitr and Zakat al-Fitr, they're all the same thing. And this is to a certain amount of money now. We pay it to the Masjid, and the Masjid has a Zakat al-Fitr box that you could place your money in, and you have to pay Zakat al-Fitr for every single person in your household. So if you have 5 children, if your wife is pregnant, you pray even for the baby that's in the stomach of the womb. And the Sadaqat al-Fitr, the price that they set in the Fiqh Council of North America this year is $15. So inshallah we'll have a box here tomorrow or the day after. We were supposed to have it a couple of days ago, but we didn't get it yet. Inshallah we're going to have a box here for Sadaqat al-Fitr. So you could put your Sadaqat al-Fitr in that box. Like I said, the minimum amount this year is $15. But you could pay as much as you want, $15 per person, $15 on behalf of you and your wife. And your wife could pay it on her own, and you could pay it on your own. But you could also pay it on behalf of those who live with you in your house. And the purpose behind Zakat al-Fitr or Sadaqat al-Fitr is to make the poor people happy on the day of Eid. And the Sadaqat al-Fitr or Zakat al-Fitr at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was a sa' of bur or sha'ir or ruz or tamr or whatever it was that they used at that timing. The Sadaqat al-Fitr at the time of the Prophet was a measuring unit, like a bowl, called a sa'. It's a measuring unit of some of the staple things that they use, such as wheat or rice or dates or barley. But in today, we could give it as the amount. So the amount that is stipulated is 15. You could give as much as you want, but you have to make sure in order to pay this before Salat al-Eid. And now what we do is we collect it throughout the month of Ramadan so we could distribute it. Because when you pay it in the Masjid box, it's not like you're handing it to the poor person. Because back at the time of the Prophet, on the way to Eid Salah, they give it to the poor person. And even today in Egypt and in Syria and in many places over the world where there's many poor people in villages, they come to the city and they line up. If you ever go to Eid in Egypt or Syria or Palestine, you go, there's poor people lined up, and you could hand them their Sadaqat al-Fitr or their Zakat al-Fitr, and you could give it to them food or you could give it to them money. But here in America, we have the boxes, and you pay it in the box, and then we distribute it. So it's best to pay it earlier than later. So we are a reminder to do that. We'll have a box here, inshallah, tomorrow or the day after. So Ramadan is done, basically. There's 6 days left. And we said to work hard in these last couple of days, because Ramadan is a time of mercy and forgiveness and tawbah and inaba. It's a time to return to Allah. Inshallah, today's topic is adab al-mustafti. Today's topic is the etiquettes that the person who's seeking a fatwa should beautify himself with. Yesterday we talked about adab ad-da'iyah, the adab and the conduct of the person who calls to Allah, how he should act. And the day before that, we spoke about adab al-masjid, the etiquette of coming to the house of Allah in the masjid. And today is adab al-mustafti, the etiquette that the person asking for a fatwa should beautify himself with. So a fatwa is a legal verdict issued by a scholar. And the reason why the scholar is asked is because he's capable of issuing a legal verdict. So now we have a question, someone has a question in their mind and they need an answer to it. He should go to someone who he believes is Islamically capable of answering his question. And this is a very important point that many people misunderstand. I want to make this point heard. Who you ask for a fatwa is very important. You don't ask anybody for a fatwa. Just because someone has a position in the community where he gives talks, it doesn't mean he's capable of giving a fatwa. So you ask someone learned who studied Sharia properly for the verdict. So there's a couple of etiquettes that they mention one should hold himself to when asking. The first thing they say is the end goal of the fatwa should be erasing the ignorance or eliminating doubt from the individual, not merely constraint or wasting time. The first thing they say is the person who's asking for this verdict, the reason why he's asking should be because he wants to remove the ignorance from himself. He wants to learn the answer, or he has a doubt about something, so he needs the answer. But it should not be nearly wasting time. What does that mean? Because sometimes you have people, they ask questions just to test the person. So the first etiquette is to be sincere when you ask. Be sincere in your su'al to the mufti. When you ask your question, make sure it's a sincere question that you need the answer to. Precise description of the fatwa and honesty in presenting it, because the fatwa scholar is a captive of the fatwa seeker, and the more clear and precise the fatwa is presented, the more clear and useful the solution and answer will be. This is also a very good point. This is a very good point. Precise description of the fatwa and honesty in presenting it. So when you ask for your question, or when you ask for the fatwa that you're asking, the question that you need, be precise in when you present it. Be specific and precise in how you ask the question, and honest, and be honest in what you're asking, right? Because the person who's going to grant you the verdict, or the person who's going to answer your question, or the person who's going to answer the fatwa, you will aid him and make it more easy for him to answer, and the solution will be made. So be precise when you ask. This is another very good point, because a lot of times people ask questions and they ask for about 10 minutes and the question still hasn't come in yet, because they're giving a lot of extra fluff. And the person who receives questions a lot, he heard all the fluff in the world already. He heard many scenarios. And I want to say something in regards to this point. I'm going to give an example with Shaykh Qatanani, because we all know him, and he's a man of our community, and he's a very busy man. I know Shaykh Qatanani very well. He probably received the same exact question 1,000 times. What you're asking him that you think is specific to you. You think that it's specific to your case. I could almost sign off a guarantee for you that he heard the exact same question 400 to 500 times, without a doubt. 30 years as an imam in a massive community. So sometimes the person answering the question doesn't give you all that detail, and he doesn't have to give you details of how he got the answer. He doesn't have to do that. His job is not to explain to you what proof he used. It's not. He's giving you the answer that you need, and he's giving you the correct answer. So sometimes people read this and they misunderstand this. They misunderstand this because they ask Shaykh Qatanani a question and he says no. If he said no, he said no, and he's 110 million% sure it's no, and he heard the same question 500 times, and he knows your scenario better than you. He knows your scenario better than you know your own scenario. I promise you, he knows your scenario better than you know your own scenario. And always I hear this all the time. No, but my scenario is different. And then I hear the question, and I heard the same. 4 years imam, not 30 years, 4 years. I heard the same question 10 times already, because things reoccur and people go through the same thing. So be precise when you ask and be truthful when you ask. Another issue is not being truthful. When a person asks someone something and they leave something out, the answer is not going to be accurate. The answer is not going to be precise. And this happens all the time. Someone asks me a question and I give him an answer and he's not comfortable, and a week later he comes back and then I find out there's 3 details he left out, like big details. And I say, oh, of course that's different because of this. So be precise when you ask, and be honest. Precision in the ask. Don't talk a lot. Just get to the point. We'll get to the point. The message, if it's an essay message, make it two lines. What's the point of the question? And also, when you're asking someone something, don't be worried about being judged. The person who's a mufti shouldn't be someone who judges people. You'll never be judged. He's not going to judge you for your question. And the only way you could receive knowledge for that what you need is to ask. There's no haya in asking, From the two people who never benefit and never learn is the person who's shy to ask. There's no problem in asking. Following the fatwa scholar whom one believes that he consoles him with the ruling of Sharia and the judgment of Allah, and this means for this is to seek the most knowledgeable person. We spoke about this. When you ask someone, you don't ask anybody, make sure the person is properly studied. Make sure the person is a scholar. The other thing they say is precision in seeking the evidence and not to be insistent on it if the fatwa scholar denies it. You don't have to know the proof that he's using because it's his job to use the proof. He just gives you the answer. Another thing is avoiding roving around between the fatwa scholars in order not to be perplexed and confused. Just seek the fatwa counseling with whom there is trust and faith and knowledge in, and then comes trust and counsel. And if he feels unconvinced, then he should seek one more knowledgeable fatwa scholar until he feels that his request is satisfied. So the next thing is avoid roving around between fatwa scholars, and they call this today fatwa shopping. If you go and you ask a scholar a question and you trust that scholar to be reputable, for example, Shaykh Qatanani, he's reputable, he's respectful, he's a scholar, you don't have to keep asking other people. Take his answer and that suffices you. You don't have to keep going around. If you have an inclination to not be 100% comfortable with your answer, with the answer, you could go ask another person, but not with a bad intention. You go to just clarify and see what he would say. Avoid asking the prescribed questions about which knowledge would not avail nor ignorance would be harmful. And don't ask about things that are of no benefit. Don't ask about things that are of no benefit. Avoid making intentions of asking hard and complicated questions to the fatwa scholar in order to test or embarrass or making it seem ignorant in front of other people. This is another important one. You have a lot of people, they like to ask questions just to show off because he has a disease in his heart. Or he wants to ask a question to see how much the guy actually knows. So they say avoid doing this. This is not right. You shouldn't be testing the person. That's disrespectful. Have some respect. ليس منا من لم يوقر كبيرنا ويرحم صغيرنا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, he is not from us who does not show waqar or goodness or humbleness or tranquility to those who are older from us, and he who does not show mercy to the young of us. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, he who doesn't have respect and dignity for those who are older is not from us. Yani his iman is not muktamil. He's not a true mu'min if he has disrespect to an older person. So the scholar is more virtuous than the older person because not only he's an older, but he also has knowledge. So there should be respect. Avoid asking questions which answering them would raise hostility against fatwa scholars, and that would necessitate not to be raised in public. Avoid asking questions that would expose some organizations or individuals to the temptation of controversy. Basically, both of these points just mean don't make fitna when you ask a question. Your question should not have fitna involved in it. Avoiding launching offensives with some fatwa against others, understanding the fatwa scholars' silence and their avoidance for answering them or ignoring them in some cases, and not to press them for answers because some issues necessitate silence or ignoring. Wow. Sometimes when you ask or you press the scholar for something, he may not want to answer the question for a given reason. Don't press too hard. If you see that the person is not answering, just leave it be. Choosing the best time to ask a fatwa question, like it is not convenient to ask the fatwa scholar while he's involved in talking with others or while he is temporarily in a bad mood, like when he feels angry, sad, or cheerful. They mention this in all the books of fiqh and fatwa. When you ask the fatwa scholar for the fatwa, you should ask him at a good time. And then he also, the person of fatwa, should also refrain from answering. He should not answer immediately if he's angry or happy. He should be level-headed when he gives the verdict, or when he gives the fatwa, he should be extremely level-headed. And this point is important. A lot of times people that ask a question and the Shaykh is busy with 10 things, or he just finished something. And of course, inshallah, we have wisdom, so we could understand his point of view. Maybe you could just stop and think of his point of view, because I know you have a question and you're eager to ask your question, but there's 10 people before you that are all eager to ask their question, and the Shaykh received 10 questions over text message the entire day already, and he has a lot going on. It's not, and then you come up to him and you ask him a question when he's in the middle of talking to 4 people, and there's a line of people wanting to give the salam after witr, and witr is the last prayer of the day, and he's tired. Like you have to be wise and smart. You could say, Shaykh, I have a question, but if it's not a good time, I could reach out to you. He says, yes, take my number, and you reach out to him. He sets an appointment so he could hear you and listen to you and give you undivided attention. And then you say, no, it's just 1 minute, just 1 second. And you ask the question, and 15 minutes go by. Every 1 minute question I ever got was 15 minutes minimum. Do you understand? And this happens often. But it's from wisdom on both sides. Wisdom for the person asking for the clarification to ask at a good timing. And be considerate, be understanding. Understand the position of the Shaykh or the Imam or the Mufti. Understand his position. He's overwhelmed sometimes and he has a lot going on, and not every time is a good time to ask the question. And if you have to set an appointment, set an appointment. It's better so you can get undivided attention. Respecting and appreciating the fatwa scholars, like politely addressing them and praying to Allah for them at the beginning of contact. We want to underline this and highlight this and put 5 exclamation marks after this, and we end with this one because this one is very important. Respecting and appreciating the fatwa scholars. Appreciate the person you're asking the question to. Have respect. When you talk with respect. Say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Shaykh, how are you? May Allah bless you. I understand you're busy. This is from etiquette. This is etiquette of speech. Abdurrahman, we're going to start now. This is from the etiquette of speech. It's best to show respect in this regard. When you talk to someone, start off by speaking nicely to them. For anybody. So a Shaykh, definitely a Shaykh. If you speak to a Shaykh for something, make sure you're respectful in how you talk to him and how you refer to him. And it adds love and mutual affection. So respecting and appreciating the fatwa scholars, like politely addressing them, not by calling them by their name, because that's disrespectful. You call a Shaykh Shaykh. You don't call him by his name, it's disrespectful. The same way you don't call an older brother by his name, that's disrespectful. Be respectful when you talk. So love and affection could be there. And praying for them when they finish. You can end off your question or your ask by making dua, Jazakallah khair, may Allah bless you. If you're happy or not happy with the answer you get, it doesn't matter. Being respectful matters. How you feel about the answer doesn't matter. Being respectful matters, and respect goes a long way. So you conclude it and end it off by saying, Jazakallah khair, may Allah bless you, may Allah increase you. And then he's going to respond saying, may Allah bless you, brother. May Allah increase you, may Allah give you everything that's good. I ask Allah to make your problem easy for you. And so we have good etiquette when we speak always. That's very important. We ask Allah to grant us understanding and wisdom and knowledge, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us. And these last 10 nights, wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. Jazakallah khair.